guys, it's a proud cat lover, and today I'm going to be taking you through the process of getting hatchling Crested Gecko cages ready, or tanks, whichever you want to call it. So here I have 2 containers, no holes or anything yet, that I got from the dollar store. They obviously come with lids there. You can see the size here, it tells, so if you ever want to look for some. Then we have these 3 plants here, which I'm only going to be using 1 per tank, of course, that I got off of Pangea. I would not suggest getting these ones. This one is the cannabis, and I was thinking that they were going to be a little bit softer leaf. They ran out of the Mexican filio, or however it's pronounced, so I got some of these just because I needed to get some plants for the babies because they're going to be hatching next month. So, kind of disappointed because they are a little rough, but I mean, they're better than those stinky, disgusting plants that I had in the other ones. I will reference a picture of the other plants. They were ones that I bought at Joann's Crafts and Fabrics. I thought they were really good because they were soft and they were plastic, but they ended up having this really awful smell, and it made the tank smell disgusting. They also had like green paint flecks that were coming off, and they'd get onto the baby geckos and they'd also get into their water, so I tossed those in the trash. So I would suggest just getting, like, these only cost $3 off of Pangea. I almost said Amazon. I'm not really sure how much they cost on Amazon, but on Pangea they only cost $3 a piece. So I would definitely suggest getting the Mexican filio, or however it's pronounced. That is my favorite one that I have of all the plants that I have for my baby geckos, because they're soft and they're easy to clean. These just seem like they're going to be a little bit more difficult when they poop and stuff on them. I was hoping that they would be a little more flat-leafed, but you can see how they curl and stuff. Have a lot of areas where that poop can just get stuck. And not only that, but they're kind of rough. They're not as soft as the other, which I was kind of hoping they would be, but they're not. So anyway, we'll get this stuff clean first. So I'll show you, this is the soap that I've used ever since I've had reptiles, and it's always worked for me. This is the Fluker's Super Scrub. It says it dissolves organic matter, and it keeps the cage clean, it deodorizes, and all the other stuff. Contains all natural enzymes and stuff. But that wasn't really the main reason that I got this, and I wouldn't suggest using the brush, it's junk. But of course that is the lid, so you have to keep it on. You can't tilt this upside down because it has no lid. Like, there is an opening in here to where if you tilt it, soap will come out on this brush because it's for scrubbing. There used to be a lid, but it fell out, and I didn't think I needed it because I didn't think it was a lid because it was just this little red cap. Yeah, don't throw away the red cap. So anyway, this is what I use. I've been using it ever since I got Ember way back, like almost 5 years ago. I've always used this soap. It's kind of hard to find anymore because every time you go to the pet store, they're sold out because everyone buys it. So anyway, we're going to go into the bathroom. I will put a little bit of this in with the bath water, and I'll like rub it around with my hands to suds it up. And we'll let the plants soak, and we'll wipe these down, and we'll dry these and put holes in them while these are soaking, and then we'll come back and dry these and put them in the tank. Okay guys, so I wanted to say real quick, you always want to make sure you have a drain sifter dealy here when you're cleaning these, because you definitely don't want plant pieces going down your drain, because that obviously would be bad. So you'll just kind of scrub them up like I did in the video, let them soak here. I'm going to go ahead and get these plants, or these tanks, and I'm going to get one of my cleaning rags, and then we'll clean them. You can see why we clean them. Look at, well, let me see if I can show you. Yeah, you can kind of see it here. See how dirty and dusty these are? Like, the tanks are like that, but they're a little harder to see. You can kind of see a little bit, the dirt on there. Obviously you want to clean these before you put babies, even if they don't look like that. So we're going to grab a wash rag, and then we'll wipe these down, dry them, and then we'll put holes in them with my solder iron. Okay, so always make sure after you put them in the water and you have a towel to wipe them down with, to have a couple towels on the floor, so once you are done wiping them down, you can sit them on these towels, and then after you're done cleaning them all, you can dry them with one of those. So that way you're not getting water all over the floor. Okay, so we have our tanks here. I'm going to go ahead and dry them. As you can see, I have them on the towel or the wash rag I have here on the floor. So that definitely keeps the floor from getting all wet, because these obviously will drip. I will say you don't have to rinse these with water after you're done washing them, because the soap is already diluted in the water. If you were using a pretty strong dilution, then I would rinse it, but because I used a pretty small amount that didn't really make a lot of bubbles in the water, it was enough to clean it, but it's not enough for you to have to worry about rinsing it. Now, if you want to, you can. Completely up to you, but where you're going to be drying them right after you're done, the soap isn't going to have time to dry onto the product. Or the tank, I should say. So you want to make sure and get it good and dry, because obviously you don't want it to dry onto there. I don't think it'll hurt the reptiles, because, I mean, it is reptile-safe soap. But sometimes soap can leave, like, bubble residue and stuff. It doesn't make the tank look very good. Now with this, I didn't bother cleaning under the rims when I was using that rag back there, because the babies aren't going to be going underneath this. They are going to be touching the lid, however, so that's why I cleaned the entire lid. So, I just cleaned the outside and the inside with these containers. So you want to make sure it's good and dry, because when you use the solder iron, it's going to burn the water and it's going to smell disgusting. And it's already going to smell bad because you're burning plastic. So don't really need to add to that smell by burning water. I will say make sure you have a well-ventilated room when you are burning plastic, because obviously the fumes can be dangerous to breathe in if you don't. So my room always has a ceiling fan going when I'm using the solder iron, so it circulates the air and it's not just concentrated in one place. And my room is pretty open, so I'm obviously not going to have it open to the entire house, because one, my mom thinks it smells disgusting, which so do I, and two, I don't want the smoke detector to go off and wake everyone up in the house. So would be a good idea if you do not do this where there's a smoke detector. So all these are dry now. We're going to go ahead and rinse the plants real quick and let them sit on these towels while we put holes in these tanks. Okay. So once the water's done draining, you'll just rinse these plants with water, and then we'll reattach some of the branches that fell off, which I'll go ahead and grab those. Okay guys, so when you're going to be getting your solder iron out, which is, this one here is mine. This is the brand here. This one can go up to, I think, 400 degrees. Let me look. Yes, it can go, well, actually 450. So this one can go up to 450 degrees. It comes with a stand here, obviously, I would hope it would. This piece goes over this here. And then it comes with these bits, which I have here in my hand. So you always want to make sure to choose the right bit when you're doing holes, because you don't want them to be too big but not too small. So this little one here that's pointed, that one would be out. We're kind of looking for more of one that's probably around this size here. So let's go ahead and get this one. Because this one here, even though it's small at the tip, it tapers down to where it gets a lot larger. So this one would be the right size, because if you were to go with something like this is more for like the bigger tanks that the bigger babies are in. This would make too big of a hole, and it might let too much of the humidity out, because these are newer babies. So they need to have holes that are medium sized, so not too much humidity or warmth exits their tank. This one obviously would be way too big, and it's the wrong shape. So we're just going to go with this one here. Obviously have no clue what the names of these bits are, because it didn't come with that information. It just says this on the front. So we're going to go ahead and put this in here and screw this on. This white piece here is obviously what heats up everything. Want you to exercise caution, an air of caution obviously, when you're using a solder iron. You can definitely very easily burn yourself, or you could burn something else that you didn't intentionally mean to burn. Worst case scenario, catching something on fire, so just be really careful when you're using this. I obviously just use it at 200 because that's definitely hot enough to melt plastic. I don't need it any hotter. So, and it takes a lot longer to cool down if it's any hotter. Sometimes, like I'm going to use this time, I have a wet paper towel sitting next to me, just in case too much plastic accumulates on the tip. I can just rub the tip off so that the plastic doesn't just stick on there and turn it black. Because you can see that kind of happened here when I didn't clean it all off. It got on the tip and it just stains it or whatever, and it's just, whenever you use that tip again, it burns that plastic again and it smells disgusting. So keep your tips clean whenever you're using your solder iron. Okay guys, so after you let the solder iron heat up, you're going to go ahead and start putting holes in this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 rows on the front, and I'm going to put 3 rows on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and start the music now so it's not really boring for you guys. Okay guys, so I went ahead and put holes in the second container off camera because I didn't want to bore you guys too much. I did speed up the footage, as I'm sure you noticed a little bit, just so that it wouldn't be as boring, but I will go over the holes real quick and show you. This is how they turned out. And obviously they don't have to look nice or fancy or in row, because obviously these are going to be very temporary. Once they reach about 4 months old, they're not even going to live in these anymore. So these are pretty much for the new hatchlings. Once your hatchling graduates from this tank into the bigger tank, then you can just have these on hand if you plan to breed again, or if you have insects that you keep sometimes like I do, like even raising caterpillars, a container like this would be really nice. Now, you obviously are not going to put any holes in the lid, because these lids are pretty flimsy and you don't want to compromise the lid and it crack or break or something. You'll take a paper towel. This one's probably about 4.5 inches in height. So you'll bend it in half, and then you'll tear down the seam here. So you'll have two pieces now. So this piece here, pardon my voice, it seems to be cracking, good grief. You'll fit down into the bottom here, and if you want to bend over this piece, you can. So after you do that, and of course this is just if you have one that's going to be going in there immediately. I'm going to take the paper towels out after I'm done showing you guys, just because mine aren't going to be going in here for a while because they haven't hatched yet. The new babies anyway. But this is just for demonstration. So after that, you take your plants, which have dried out by now, because where you were putting holes in these tanks. Hold on a second, these suction cups are not wanting to move. Okay, so you'll move the suction cup to the top of the stem here. You'll take it like this so that you have a finger on either side. And you're going to put it right below the holes. So I'm just going to choose to do this side here. You'll sit it right there. Make sure that it's really squished in there good so it doesn't fall off. And that's how it looks. It's really simple, but this is a hatchling. You don't obviously want it to get overwhelmed by too many too many decorations. I also have a small little bowl, which I will show you guys what I use for the hatchlings. So these are the little bowls that I use for my hatchlings. And a few of the bigger babies have them too, because I don't have any more of the bigger bowls I use for them. But these are made out of silicone, and they're little bottle caps. They kind of have a rubber feel to them. And I got them from K&A Critters. It's a place on Facebook, but they also have a website. I'm not really sure if I have their business card. Let me look real quick. Okay, so I know at one point I had their business card, but I'll just put their website in the description if you guys want to purchase any of those. I'm not really sure if they ship out of the United States or not. You'd have to look. But I think for 10, it cost me $8 or something in there. If it wasn't $8, it was a little bit more, but it wasn't very expensive. It might not even have been $8. It could have been $6. I can't remember. But like I was saying, after you get that little bowl and you'll put it in here, I obviously use filtered water just because that's what my family drinks. It's not suggested to give them tap water. Do not give them distilled water either. A veterinarian told me for like mammals, like my cats, so I'm assuming if you can't give it to cats, then reptiles wouldn't be a good idea, but distilled water has 0 nutrients, no minerals, no nothing in it. It's pretty much as water that was boiled and they collected the steam. That's how the distilled water is made, I'm pretty sure. So, obviously I would suggest using purified water. If you do not have purified water, you can get water dechlorinizer or something that's for reptiles at pet stores, and that will take out the chlorine and the hard metals out of water so that your reptile can drink tap water. But you have to follow the instructions, make sure that it's safe and you didn't put too much or too little, because you obviously don't want to harm the reptile. So, and you can even use bottled water if you want to, but that's more expensive. So, after you get both of these plants in there, I'm not going to stick that one in there right now because it's too difficult. You'll take a piece of paper and you'll write the name of the baby, or if you don't have a name yet, you just write the hatch date, so the date it hatched. You take a piece of tape, put it over the paper, and tape it on the lid. That way you know which baby is in here and when it hatched. And then it's easy to just peel off and put on to another container when it moves up. Or if you're putting a new baby in here, then you can just peel the tape off and put the name of the new baby after that one has graduated from this tank. That way you're not writing on the lid and it doesn't leave a permanent mark on there so that you have to like make a whole bunch of scribbles all over the place. So anyway guys, this is going to be the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching and have a good rest of your day.